Hey y'all, welcome to Other Realm Studio. This is Paula, and I have no idea what I'm gonna draw today. Again, it's been a bit of a rushed day. So yesterday I worked all day on a program and didn't have anything to show for it really afterward. And today I didn't manage to work all day on the program, and I still don't have anything to show for it. Oh well, you live. So, what have I got? I'm just going to start sketching. So, let's see. I need to come up with some kind of video, and I was going to work on it today. And I did not, in fact, actually get to work on it. But I have planned some things to do with the video. So I figured out a few parts of the motion artist program. So what I've got going on with it, I need to take some of my files that I wanted to get the parallax effect on, and I don't have them already divided into layers. I think I flattened everything I colored, and that wouldn't really help me anyway if I hadn't. So, if I had had the layers, if I hadn't flattened everything, I would have just had flattened lines and then colors, layers of my colors that I've done over them. So that wouldn't have helped. Let's see. have to move this guy up a bit. Let me grab this layer and scoot it up so I have enough room for him. And then after that, I might have to shrink him if I'm going to put anything about, you know, what he is and what his habits are at the top for the field guide to the other realm. Note, that needs more foreshortening. Alright, let me see. Okay, this is starting to take some shape. Not bad for not being able to have any idea what I was going to do when I first sat down. Yeah, this is about right. I miss my dog. Not that she ever looked vicious or toothy like this one, but she was a pit bull mix dog. I bought her for $10 at a flea market. At the time, I didn't know what kind of dog she might be. Although in this area, some sort of pit bull is kind of common. And yeah, when I bought her, she was just this lump of skin and fur and fat. She was just a fat little puppy. She was just the greatest dog. And yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to find another dog that good. She was the best. I know if you've had a dog, you probably think yours was the best. But no. Surprise was the best dog ever. Hey Joe. What's the nope? I admit that Spike was also a pretty good dog. But Surprise was the best. I'm going to sharpen this one's ears. I never had Surprise's ears sharpened, though. This is going to be a different species entirely. You probably want a greyhound then. A dog that'll sleep 20 hours a day. I hear that once they get done racing, they're done forever. Turn into lazy couch potatoes for the rest of their lives. Unless they see something that they think they can catch. Not really great around small animals. I don't know. I think I'll bulk up the hindquarters again, after all. Okay, this is a much more natural line for the tail. Right here. And I'll just erase this other bit. Oh, the kids are watching a movie. I think it's one of the Spy Kids ones. So there was an alarm that went off. Don't be alarmed. It was just the show. I hadn't even noticed it. I was wanting to watch some live streams earlier today, but for some reason my tablet was not my tablet wasn't showing any kind of video, so that was kind of frustrating. Oh. Finally, after a reboot, the thing's working again. No, it wasn't a reboot, just a restart. Okay, I'm just going to tidy up some of my extra lines here, and just so I don't confuse myself too much when I go to do my next layer. That was a bit much. Let's sharp that. Okay, I like this eye a lot better than this eye. Let me see if I can get that shape. Making eyes match. It's the worst. Fortunately, there's not that many instances where you have to really make them match. And trim this down. I think I got distracted from doing that earlier. Alright. There. What a lovely puppy. Let's see, what's a good color? Hey, David McConaughey on Facebook. Yay, my Facebook finally booted up. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. It's a good color. I don't know about... Oh, let's go with like a gray, a dark orange. I'll do brown. Let's see. So my work is still really sketchy. Yeah, I'd really love to have smooth, polished line art, but I have not figured out the trick to it yet. I learned early on to do light, almost invisible sketches so that when I do my correcting later, then I can erase. So I do very light sketchy lines and then ink over them correctly. but that's on paper. Oh, there's autosave. Hey, Deborah. Thanks for stopping by. How you doing? So yeah, I'm finally keeping up with more than one chat. Let's see. I'm getting there. I'm getting the hang of this. Okay. Let's not forget the shape that I need to do the foreshortening on the muzzle. It is a little bit tricky. And in here I'll remember the teeth in a minute. So there's a legend of the wild hunt. And I think, you know what, I'm going to go back in and do that with a different color later. That if you hear howling outside on a night when there's a full moon, don't go out and see what's going on. You don't want to be caught. Although I really don't think that that was a pit bull type dog. That would be more of a that'd be more of a hound of some sort. It's they were red and white hounds. And I'm gonna give this guy like longer paws, like hands almost. Let's see. When I pick another color or layer, yeah, I thought I'd mentioned it. So I started off with a sketch layer of, you know, this hot pink because I never really draw in hot pink. Although I was thinking of making this dog red, so if I'd made it if I'd done my sketch layer in something like blue, it would have stood out well. If I'd gone back over and made it a red dog instead of more of a brown. See, here I can hide my sketch layer, and this is what we got. Got no teeth yet. Something that's clearly a bulldog type creature so far. I've seen some bulldogs that look like they almost have like human arms, and their legs are spaced far apart, and they've got this really broad chest. That's probably not good to breed dogs like that. It also seems to come with having a really short nose, and they can't breathe, and everything they do is snort. Let's see, we'll raise his hackles. So here I'm just going to go over his side. I think maybe for this one I'll do some more dramatic lighting. So far he's pretty much done, except for coming in with the teeth. So I have a little bit of time to refine him a bit. Nope, I don't like that line. Come on, back out of it. I'm done. Okay. So the undo function is so nice to have. See, if I'd... Okay, I'm going to have to zoom in on that. Wring out my wrist. Okay. Come on. There it goes. I think it helps when I push down on the scroll button. It helps it decide that, yes, what I want to do is scroll in instead of zoom back out. I don't know why it's confused at all in the first place, though. Alright, and let me just click on fit to screen, put them back in there, and do I have everything I need? Everything but the teeth. So let's come over here. We'll do a warmer color for the teeth, or for the gums in there. Possibly not, though. I'll do a blue. This, the indigo shaded gray, and then I can touch it up later. And probably come in here on the additional color set and find a good medium. What was that? I just heard a strange noise. Sounded like an explosion outside. Now, occasionally, one of our neighbors gets a little noisy. And shoots off stuff. But not usually at 9:30 at night. Oh, good. Joe heard it too. It's not just me. So, one of the things that I can do in addition to, let's see, all the normal mode sketching and coloring I've done, I can also add another layer and change how it affects what's already on the page, or the lines that I use. So there's some different modes that are really interesting. I can use, let's make some room for his tongue in here. And let's see, if I didn't have this in this particular mode, and I had it in, well, nah, that's not gonna help. Yeah, I'll show you in a minute. So one of the things that I do when I color, I think I'll add some color to this guy. I add another layer. I pull it down here so that this is my my line layer, my line art. And I can fill most of it. Let's see. Let me find a good one. There. Interesting. I think I have too many gaps. There's close and fill. Maybe that'll... What? Oh. So I've been just a little bit spoiled by Mia's line art, which is always very smooth and there's not gaps. And mine's really sketchy, so I'm gonna have to actually select what I want to have colored, and it's not going to be perfect. There's a reason why I started off just trying to do this as sketches. What? Oh, my life. Never mind. In that case, I'll just paint it. Yeah, sometimes this program, I think that it's going to work one way and do something, and it turns out to not quite be the way I'd hoped. But that's because I haven't finished learning everything that there is about it. I'm just gonna brush in a little bit of the color on this. I'm not really going to make it very exact. Ordinarily, I'd call it done at this point. Maybe put a little background in for the sketches, but I kind of feel like coloring this one in. Now see, I think that the pit bull type is a very pretty dog. I like the shape of their eyes. Not sure when I've accidentally put that stroke in. And yeah, I like that their faces are blunt, but not so blunt that they snort all the time when they breathe. That just bothers me. I always feel like the dog's gonna just have a heart attack and die if it comes up and it's just snorting constantly. It stresses me out. Let's see, I'm gonna go with a warmer color and red him up a bit. So I'm working with a really big brush. I'm at the 250 size. Just to lay in the color. And mostly what I do, especially with the oil brush, which stretches and gets thinned out and pulls other colors with it. I really like it. It seems like a very intuitive brush. But what I really like to do is bring out the stretching effect even more with the blend tools, the various ones, the watercolor and blend and fingertip and all that. So you can see what I'm doing here. Since this layer is behind my drawing layer, it's not covering up my lines. Right, so if I get rid of my sketches, we have an interestingly colored blob. We can pop that back in there. And I'm gonna stroke that back up a bit. Probably what I'll do is come back later and erase around my edges. Okay, so now we have some color. The way you're supposed to shade, you're supposed to add in another layer and set it, see, do a new layer, and see that one popped up here, still under my sketches. Do a new layer, set it to multiply, or sometimes these other ones, multiply works pretty well. And then you go to a light grayish, and then you pick whatever tone is going to work. You don't just put in like blue shadows or gray, or just add in transparent black. Not usually. Oh, I'm still in blend. What am I even thinking of? There, for a little more detail. Because I hear, anyway, that will make your colors seem a little muddy. I'll do that later. And you want your colors to be vibrant and lively, especially when you're doing comics. Well, it depends on the tone of the comic that you're working on. I mean, I've seen a really beautiful book, creepiest thing ever though, called Long Harbor. That book's beautiful. It's very moody. It's very blue and green and haunted things out in the ocean. I mean, I've only seen a few panels of it, and it's terrifying. It looks like a really good horror story. Horror's not really my thing, but if you go on Indiegogo and you see a comic called Long Harbor, just check it out because the art is amazing and very painterly stuff and very detailed and moodiest thing I've ever seen. It's pretty special. And there's another one called Monster MD, which I'm seriously considering getting this one. It's also it's also in like the horror genre, but it's actually funny. And to me, it's like the combination of humor that you get if you find out that your life is turned into a real life horror movie and you're also an ER doctor. Lots of monsters. And it's also very funny. But mostly what I see in the indie comics is horror. I see a lot of horror. I see a little bit of superheroes, like Flying Sparks, Volume 2. Um, and, Flying Sparks, Volume 1. There's, uh, there's stuff with zombies, there's stuff with heroes, there's stuff with uh, kind of both, which was like the Jawbreakers one. And then, on the other side, there's very specific sorts of idiosyncratic slice of life. Things with the characters, they don't really seem that interesting to me. So there's a lot of, let me see. Let's put some soft pink in these ears. Yeah, so there's not really a whole lot that appeals to me. I just really love fantasy stories, like specifically, especially portal fantasy. I like the idea of going to another world and finding things out about it and just exploring it and learning to cope with a new environment. It's like all the best parts of like the fish out of water story, and things are just, and there's also like the sense of wonder from everything being so new and different and anything being possible. And I just really love that kind of story. And so I wrote one. And yeah, that's what Soulbound is. It's a portal fantasy that's it's about a very practical med student who's suddenly thrown into another world where monsters are real and magic is real. Sometimes the symbol is the thing. And you have to guard your soul, quite literally, because there's things that can happen that can cause you to become unmoored from one realm and thrust into another one. And you kind of don't want to leave your body behind if that happens. You've heard of people who they die of suggestion. They die of being cast out from their clan. I think that's like a soul sickness. It was an interesting idea to explore, and I really wanted to get more into it and figure out what can happen to someone if there's something wrong. in their soul. So I found out that some of the Japanese stories have beat me to the punch. There's oh goodness, what is it? Is it the Beast and the Boy? Or is it the other way around, the Boy and the Beast? And I can't pronounce the name of the creator of it. It's an anime. It's very good. Let me see. I need to erase out a little bit of this eye. Wait, I should be in this layer. And there's autosave again. And let me pop in another layer. And it's going to be overlay for more of a light effect. And I'm going to look through and find pale tone, I guess. Maybe light tone. Yeah, it's a bit more vivid, so we'll go with that one in a reddish shade. And you can see that where I go over the colors, it gives them a more red cast. I'm going to have him breathing a little bit of red light. Kind of like if you've ever seen the cartoon The Last Unicorn, there's a red bull it just glows with this red light. It's the creepiest thing ever, or at least I thought so. Come up his eyes a bit. Hey, Connie. Has anybody gone to investigate what the boom was? I mean, I think I felt the house shake a tiny bit. Hey, should we go check on our neighbor with the cannon? Make sure it didn't go off by accident. Alright, so I just want to cast a little reflection here. Maybe blend that out so it's more of a reflection of what's going on from the light source than it is being a source of light itself in the fur down here. So he doesn't look terribly furry. That's okay. He's a short-haired dog. Okay, now I want to go back to the normal color layer. So this one's pretty fancy. I have him going on 4 layers, not counting the paper. And I'm going to come in and work on his eyes. I say his, but it might be a female dog. She might have puppies. That would be cute. And let's continue with the red theme. Maybe we should go into this one. This one you get a nice line of colors. To choose from. And I need to get down here. And you can see where I put the overlay layer, where I drew over this. It's still there, even though it's invisible over the white. It's still there over this color on top of it, affecting how it looks. I'm going to go darker. Kind of give more of a lustrous look, even though the eyes are going to be kind of glowy. So I have decided, pretty much, if everything goes well and I finally get this video made, to launch my comic Soulbound issue #1, because it's a 10-issue series. It gets, it's fairly complex for a comic. Well, for a comic with an ending. I don't intend to go on and do this never-ending soap opera kind of comic book where, you know, people get killed off, they get brought back to life, they get killed off again, they get replaced by other characters with the same name. Yeah, that happens a lot with, especially the Marvel. Also the constant reboots. That's more of DC's problem, especially with the movies, but also with the comics. And I gave up trying to read the comics. They don't stick to a storyline. There is no beginning. Or if you ever find a beginning, they're going to erase that history and start over again sometime. I'm going to see if I can, what I should do about this shape. Do I erase it or do I exaggerate it? I might as well exaggerate it. I'll come around here and darken the outside of it. Maybe not that line. A little neater right there. And come up the top. So I've got maybe a little bit more detailing to do in the sketch layer, which I know I colored its mouth in the sketch layer and not in the color layer. Occasionally I'll do stuff like that. So I'll be launching the Kickstarter on the 12th unless I get some kind of a problem with the review process. I should still have time to make the video over this weekend, tomorrow, and put it up there. So I've got a couple of options. One is try again with the motion artist thing. Be a little better prepared this time. And let's come down here. And see if I can get that parallax effect going. I'm going to take some of my art from my panels that are really well put together. Mia did an excellent job. And yeah, there's foreground and background elements, and middle ground too, yeah. And it would look really good with those separated out and animated separately so that the whole thing appears 3D. And that's my big goal for that. I've got a couple of images that will work. Page 1 in the comic, which is Becca's nightmare, would be awesome for that. I can have it like her nightmare's closing in on her. So, if I can do that, if I can get the program to do the thing that I want it to do and not forget halfway through what I'm trying to do with it, then that's one thing that I want. Okay, I think this guy's pretty much done. Let me scoot back and use the mouse, get back to fit to screen. Okay, so for Becca's nightmare, I was going to use the little lasso tool, select everything out, and put it on different layers so it'll work. I like him. He's cute. His hindquarters are back there somewhere. I don't have a good spot to put his back paws. Maybe brush in just a little bit more under here. So that's what I'm going to work on tomorrow. I already got started on it a little bit. If we look at, no, not that one. Probably not that one. Okay, so there. See, this is Becca's nightmare. And what I'll be doing with it is like neatening up some of this, because I was I was just clipping it to see if it would work. So I didn't go as close in as I should have. Now, I need her, the sorceress, to be larger in the background, I think. So I can select this one and enlarge it. I'm also going to have the whole thing on a black background so it'll be alright. Don't mind too much of this. And I may need to add a little bit around here because you can see where I have clipped her away from Becca. And yeah, this is on a transparent background. So that's one of the other things that it needs to do the effect. And yeah, pretty much I just went in there without having any files prepared, and I just need to do some prep work. And so the other thing that I wanted to do is have this like coming out towards Becca. So I need to trim out all this right here. Leave as much as I can of the tubing and the chains and everything, and trim it out so that it'll work well against the black background. And so I can make it zoom in for an effect like the nightmares closing in on Becca. And there's a few other elements from the art for this that I would like to use. If I can get the animation to work. It's a simple program. I should be able to do this. It's driving me nuts. I mean, I've grasped what it is that I want it to do, but remembering the steps to get it to do it is a little tricky. And, you know, if you remember most of the steps and you get it almost working, but you haven't set up exactly what it is that you're supposed to do, well, that's really frustrating. So that's where I was yesterday. But yesterday is gone. Today was a new day, but I had other things to do, and tomorrow is also another new day, and after that it's going to be Monday, and if I don't have this done by then, I'm going to be running a little too close to my deadline to have the Kickstarter entirely ready by the 12th, because I still need to have it approved. They say allow 3 business days. I would prefer to allow more than that. So yeah, this is probably a very clumsy way to go about doing it, but if I have each of my elements on a different layer, then I can animate each element in a different fashion, not have them all move together, and they'll be like free floating from each other in the panel in Motion Artist. And it's a program from Smith Micro, and it's very cheap. Like, I don't think it cost me $20. It's this one. So it's got like a whole demo project, and I think you can just watch the demo project on the Smith Micro site. You know, before you even try it out, you can see everything that it does, and it's really interesting, and I honestly wish that I was better at this. It's just so fascinating. There was this one thing that I wanted to do. I made a map for a role-playing game. And one of the things that I wanted to do was for the cities, if you could click on the name of the city on the big map, then it would take you to an illustration of the city. But you need HTML5 for that. And this will do HTML5. I have no idea how to do the thing I wanted to do yet. Someday I will figure this thing out, along with all the other dozens of things that I am trying to... Whoa! I thought I said cancel. Let's just hide that. Okay, this is the other art right here that I wanted to... Oh, by the way, cover reveal. Sneak peek at the cover. One of the things that I wanted to do was separate Becca from this background. Fill in more of the background so that it can be completely separate from her, and then just have a little bit of a track for the image of Becca to follow separate from this right here, and also have her zoomed in while this zooms out in the background. And I've almost got it in mind what it is that I can do. I just don't know how I'm going to do it exactly. So that's two things. So that's the cover and the nightmare. And the other things, did I have them started? Oh, there was another thing I wanted to... Was it this one? Maybe? I've gone through so many iterations of these that their names just got longer and longer. Okay, so here we have the picture of the first page that's just the inks. And yeah, you can see that Becca's surrounded by the nightmare. And I was going to change from the black and white to the color, but I think I'm going to like the parallax effect better. So let's close out, save that, since I did do something useful on it today. And I'll have to remember to save these as PSD files, because that's what Motion Artist works with. And here we are back at my puppy. That may come from a very scary dimension. So I can come in here. I can delete my sketch layer from the hot pink. And I can take all these layers and merge them down together and flatten them. Yeah, I can either go merge with layer below for each one, or I can just say flatten image. Usually just flattening the image works, but sometimes if you've gone back and forth with a bunch of different layers and experiments, you kind of have to flatten each one individually to be sure that none of your effects have done anything strange to your other effects. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. He's cute. I might come back and neaten up some of my edges, or leave it rough and sketchy. And I might not have left any room to put anything about what this is and what its habitat and habits and role is in the other realm. You can probably guess. It's probably a guardian of something. Alright, so that's it for tonight. Thank you for watching. And, oh, please visit my website, www.otherrealmstudio.com, and sign up for my newsletter so that you will know exactly when my Kickstarter is live, so that you can get your copy of Soulbound Issue 1, Adrift. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the other realm. Bye.